Are you feeling unfulfilled in your faith life? Do you want to get more from your relationship with God? It's one of the most common things I hear in spiritual direction is that people are looking to develop their faith and take it to that next level. And today we're going to talk about that by developing our talents and putting our faith into action. Hi, I'm Chad Torson with Directional Faith. And if you're familiar with this channel, you know that I like to talk about finding faith with a purpose and to teach people how to discern God's will for their life. But if we really want to boil that down, it's all about finding God's given purpose for your life. We each have a unique call from God, but it always begins in the same place. We begin by absorbing. We take everything in and we start growing in our faith little by little. We might start by attending church more regularly, reading more out of scripture, listening to Christian music. There are a lot of different things that people might do when they first find faith to start learning more about God and developing their own internal faith. But over time, that stops being enough. We start feeling like we need something more out of our faith and out of our relationship with God. And we find that something more by figuring out what our God-given purpose is. And we do that by taking our faith into action. And to do that, you need to know how. And that begins by, what are you going to do to put your faith into action? I found that the best way for me to put my faith into action is through technology. You're here watching this video because I've got a passion for it. I love working with different technologies, whether it's building websites, creating videos. I found that I have a passion for doing things that allow me to both be creative as well as use my talents in technology. Of course, I didn't just start doing this one day. It's something that I had to develop over time. I had to figure out what my talents were, what my passions were, and use those towards spreading the faith. Now, the first thing you need to do is figure out what your talents are. What are the God-given gifts that you have that you can use to put into action for God? Of course, when most people think about God-given talents, they think about preachers and speakers and writers and musicians that are able to use those talents in an artistic, creative way to spread the gospel and share the word. Those are the people that are out front. You might even be looking at me as somebody that's creating YouTube videos, as somebody that's out front doing these evangelistic efforts to try to spread the word. You might be telling yourself, I'm not called to preach or play an instrument or to hop on a YouTube and create videos. And that's okay. We're all called to God in different ways. You're given your unique talents because there's a need within the church for somebody to do exactly what you're so skilled at doing. One example is a friend of mine who loves to cook. She's actually going to culinary school right now to become a chef. Now, she could take those skills and go work at a restaurant and have a great career. But at the same time, she could also use those skills to figure out how she could use that in a more ministerial way. Now, this doesn't mean that she's got to drop everything and do it full time. She might be able to have that career in a restaurant and be able to be a chef and then do these things as her ministry on the side, the things that she does in her free time to live out her mission for God. Not everybody is called to ministry full time. And that goes for your skills as well. You might be somebody that's good at working with your hands, good at fixing things around the house. Well, that doesn't mean you've got to quit your job to go work for Habitat for Humanity full time. But that doesn't mean that you can't volunteer some time on your weekends. You might also take that time on the weekends to go work with the elderly to fix things around their home. There are a lot of ways that you can use that one talent in your spare time and your free time to be able to help others that need it. And you might also be somebody that is called to do something in media. Maybe you're called to write or create videos or do things on social media to try to reach out and spread the gospel. I can tell you that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a full-time gig either. For me, this isn't full-time. Now, I hope that one day I can go into ministry full-time, spend all my time creating content here on YouTube, writing books, doing all these great things. But you're not necessarily going to have all these skills naturally. I didn't know how to use a camera when I first started this. I didn't know much about social media. Even my writing is something that I've had to develop over time. You have to take time to develop your skills. Just like my friend that's learning to cook, she was a great cook already and is able to do it in her home, but she wanted to take it to another level, so she's going to culinary school to learn more. I'm not saying that you've got to drop everything and go to school in order to develop the talents that God has already given you, but think of how you can take them to another level if you're willing to do that. Being someone from Chicago, one of my favorite athletes is Michael Jordan, who's known as the greatest of all time when it comes to basketball. He had a God-given talent that no one could surpass. Yet despite all of that talent, he still had to work hard. He still had to develop that talent and grow with it. If he had just taken the talent that he was given back in high school, he wouldn't be the Michael Jordan that we know today. It took time for him to practice and train, learn, and work with others in order to develop that talent in order to become who he is. And when it comes down to it, he wasn't the only person on the court. He had this talent, but he had to surround himself with people with other talents that matched well with his own in order for him to win any of those championships. He never would have won those championships on his own. And so when we look at our talents, we don't need to be everything. We don't have to be what other people are. We don't have to chase the same talents and dreams that they have. We have to look at the talents that God gave us and say, how is this going to fit into the bigger picture of the church? How can I use what I'm already doing and what I'm already good at to help be a bigger part of this puzzle? And it all begins by taking one small step. A lot of times we think that we have to take this giant leap into ministry, that we've got to drop everything and give up our whole lives for God. He's not asking that of all of us. He's simply asking us to take small baby steps in that direction. You don't have to take a giant leap. Just take one small step today towards that goal. If you want to develop that talent, spend some time today reading a book or researching it online. Or maybe you want to start putting your faith into action by reaching out to ministries that might need your help right now. Whatever you choose to do, that one small step is all that matters. It doesn't have to be giant leaps and life-changing events. Taking small steps will put you on the path towards putting your faith in action, towards finding what your God-given purpose is and to fulfilling God's will for your life. And if you're interested in finding God's will for your life, after you've hit the subscribe button below, make sure to check out these videos here because they're going to help you figure out exactly that. What is God's will for your life? What is your God-given purpose? And how do you put faith into action? Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.